The palace of the Moravian Gallery in the historical centre of the city of Brno became the venue at the end of June 2015 for one of the most important events in Czecho-Chinese commercial relations. At the beginning of 2015, the Chinese company Xi'an ShaanGu Power signed an agreement with the company Ekol to acquire shareholder rights. This means that Xi'an ShaanGu Power will acquire 100% of shareholders' rights in Ekol in a series of stages. The first stage of the transaction has now been completed, with the acquisition of 75% of the shares in Ekol. And this gala ceremony was held to symbolize the joint and steady progress of the two companies on their journey of international development. This is the largest Chinese investment in Czech industry, which also represents 17% of all Chinese investment in the Czech Republic. ShaanGu Power has allocated the equivalent of 340 million Czech Crowns for this phase of their involvement with Ekol. This is an extraordinary day. Today, we are celebrating the wedding of ShaanGu and Ekol. I have worked in various management positions in engineering throughout my career. I consider my greatest success to be taking part in the process of transforming Ekol Energo. Ekol Energo is today a well-oiled manufacturing company, a subsidiary of Ekol. Today is the end of 2 years of work by many people involved in the process, which wasn't simple. This was the first acquisition for both Ekol and ShaanGu. I'd like to thank everyone who's taken part in the process and brought it through to today. In my opinion, this wedding between Ekol and ShaanGu is a good idea. The synergies that we've identified are so compelling that the company that has just been formed will be a world beater. I'd like to thank my partner, Mr. Vesely, for inviting me to the podium to welcome you to today's event. I met Mr. Vesely by chance 24 years ago while skiing in Slovakia. The result was the company Ekol. The grand ceremony included presenting gifts to the founder of Ekol, Professor Vesely, as well as to other representatives of the company. Thank you very much for this presents. I've got so many at home that I haven't got space on the walls, so I stack them up in the cellar. But these pictures will be hung up. So I'd like to ask the chairman to our home to see for himself where they'll be placed.
My jsme v lednu 2015 provedli takzvaný signing.
There was a signing ceremony in January 2015, where the agreements were signed defining the merging of the companies ShaanGu and Ekol. There were a number of tasks in the contract that needed to be completed before the next stage, closing, could be started. This closing protocol states that the tasks agreed to in the contract signed in January have been completed. We are today, the 26th of June, signing the closing officially, the moment when ShaanGu becomes a shareholder in Ekol. This acquisition is extremely important for Ekol, since it increases the company's prestige and competitiveness on the world markets, while expanding the commercial horizons. We will also focus on research and development, which is part of our cooperation agreement. We will also work on so-called unification, the research and development of steam turbines, to increase their efficiency.
A potom společně se ShaanGu chceme rozvíjet některé programy, které jsme si definovali. Především je to...
With ShaanGu, we'd like to develop some programs that we have defined.
A potom jsou to takzvané energy islands.
This involves especially the development of new technology in the chemical industry. Moreover, we will focus on so-called energy islands, where we would use energy from all possible resources that nature gives us in a particular place. These can be conventional resources, such as coal, natural gas and oil, or renewable resources, such as biomass, gasification, or solar and wind power. We'd like to join these resources and use whichever is cheaper in a particular locality. Therefore, we'd optimize the price of energy for the area. This is an important program that we'd like to be involved in, and the Chinese would like us to help them with it. There are 4 Chinese workers currently working at Ekol. 2 are involved in the management of the company, and another 2 are involved in technical matters. The technical team is trying to unify the products to make them compatible with our products in China, so that we can expand our product range. The managerial team should help Ekol develop, and of course to facilitate communication with the parent company. Our aim in joining Ekol was to extend our product portfolio, since ShaanGu has compressors, expanders and other turbo sets, but is not adequately represented in the field of steam turbines. In this respect, this acquisition completely fits our strategic plan and helps us create our portfolio in a single unit. In this way, ShaanGu will be larger, stronger, and will be able to develop worldwide. First of all, we have to adapt to ShaanGu's system, since they own 75% of us, which means there are tax and accounting obligations. Then the organization is changing in the sales and development of a number of steam turbines for ShaanGu, who will be our main customer. We are in the middle of developing a number of new turbines with an output of between 1 and 75 megawatts, which is planned over 3 years. This step will acquire a market in China for these turbines. Moreover, we will develop servicing both in China and in South America. Naturally, we'd like to supply turbo compressors produced by ShaanGu with our turbines on the market. The second part of the grand ceremony was conducted in the spirit of a seminar, joining Chinese and Czech culture, with representations of typical social habits of both countries. This culminated with the exchanges of presents and T-shirts with the motto of the whole event, "One team, one dream."
通过这种深入的讨论呢，我觉得给我
Naturally, we have tried to iron out all the important issues. It was a pleasant surprise that we reached an agreement on most aspects. And I keep wondering why that would be, since we are companies separated by a large geographic distance. I was thinking during today's cultural seminar that cultural costumes are part of Bohemian and Moravian traditions. One of the reasons for using these beautiful costumes was to differentiate between people from different villages. If someone was looking for a partner, the costumes would help him or her warn off people close to them. It also occurred to me, these more distant genes provide interesting results. Therefore, I think if we come from more distant parts, this can be promising for the future, that we'll find a partner wearing a completely different costume. At the same time, there is plenty our two nations have in common with each other. For example, I was extremely impressed with the work ethic here in the Czech lands, which is the same as in China. You're constantly trying to improve things and to move forward swiftly. Since we have the same aim and are striving for the same thing, we are becoming one team. The slogan, "One team, one dream," should be what we are constantly striving for and should always be our aim. The final joint photograph is proof of the excellent atmosphere throughout the event.
One team!